Good day everyone. I am Peter Luis Ramas, and today I will discuss the most relevant issues of our country and in the digital age, which is the fake news. So, in today's world, information spreads rapidly through social media platforms such as Facebook, Twitter, TikTok, and YouTube, and Instagram. Because of this, many people can easily consume and share information without verifying if it is accurate or not. So, fake news not only affects us individuals but also the society, politics, the public safety, and even the democracy. So now it can manipulate opinions, create panic, damage reputations, and influence people's decisions. So now today we will discuss the different types of fake news, specifically starting off with disinformation, misinformation, and malinformation. Together with real examples and analysis to better understand how these forms of information operate online. So now, before we proceed, let me just introduce to you the objectives of my presentation. So the objective of this presentation is to educate and raise awareness about the different forms of fake news that circulate online. So specifically, this presentation aims to differentiate misinformation, disinformation, and malinformation. Next one is analyze real online examples. Third one, explain how false or misleading content spreads. Fourth one, demonstrate simple ways of verifying information online. Lastly is encourage responsible sharing and critical thinking when consuming digital information. So, as digital citizens, it is important for us not only to consume information but also to analyze whether the information is trustworthy, manipulated, or intentionally harmful. So, now, before we proceed, misinformation, disinformation, and malinformation is an example of information disorder. So now let me just introduce to you what is um, disorder. So information disorder is basically the spread or misuse of false, misleading, or harmful information. So it is likely connected to fake news. So now let us proceed to our first slide. This is an example of disinformation. So let me just identify, let me just give you the definition of disinformation. So disinformation refers to false information that is deliberately spread to deceive, manipulate, or even harm people. So the keyword here is intent. So the person spreading the information already knows the content is false, but it still shares it to influence opinions, create fear, manipulate emotions, or gain advantage. So this information is commonly used in political propaganda, online scams, fake news websites, conspiracy theories, and manipulated social media posts. So because of this information, because this information, it is intentional. It is considered one of the most dangerous forms of fake news. So first slide is phishing. So one common example of this information is phishing. Phishing, by its definition, is an online scam that tricks people into giving sensitive information such as passwords, OTP codes, banking details, or even personal information. So scammers often disguise themselves as trusted institutions like banks, schools, government agencies, online shopping platforms, or social media companies. So government agencies, that will be my example. That'll be my example in the next slide. So so this is considered disinformation because the false information is intentionally, just like I said earlier, it is intentionally created to deceive and financially exploit people. Now, for our first sample of disinformation. So this now, as May 1 or Labor Day approached, posts started circulating online on Facebook, claiming that there was a 51 GB free data giveaway. So, according to the post here, the first step to claim the reward was to input personal information, such as your personal phone number. And the second step was to share the link to 5 messenger groups or even 15 friends. So it is said that once the tasks were completed, the user would receive that 51 GB of free data. So and what was the result? This is the result. My grade 10 classmate, who is also a close friend of mine, sent me this link. I immediately became suspicious because who would actually give away that massive amount of mobile data for free? So I searched more about it. Um, so now, looking at the picture, the post used the logos of three telecom companies: Globe Telecom, Dito, Telecommunity, and Smart Communications. So, however, when we visit their official Facebook pages, we cannot find the same post about that supposed 51 GB of free data giveaway. So instead, the pages only show Labor Day, Labor Day greeting posts. Yeah, Labor Day greeting posts. So at this point, we can already tell that the post is fake. So to further support my claim, I use the technique called reverse image search, which I learned from previous videos shared by our instructor at USTP via USTEP. So there's also a news about here. Okay, so here. So that is an example of reverse image search, which I used to determine if that post is true or not. So now I use this Google and insert an image which I saved in the Facebook post. So now we can see the results here that it is actually fake. So now there is also a news here that says official telecom company offers free 51 gigabyte data this Labor Day. This is from this is from a news. It says that this is a false claim. And looking back at the right side of the picture, this is a PISA Philippines news. So it also says here that new Labor Day phishing campaign shows how threat actors exploit holiday giveaway. So now we can already tell that this post is somewhat fake. Yeah. So now moving on to our next sample of disinformation is this one. There is this post about also found in Facebook that says 2024 scholarship program, including the amount of money that they will be getting in their respective grades, such as elementary students will be getting 7,000 pesos, high school students 9,000 pesos, and college 10,000 pesos. Now people might believe this picture is is true, or the announcement is accurate because of Vice President Sara Duterte's picture, which she is also the Secretary of the Department of Education. So putting her face there will also make the post more believable. Now, let's take a look on the right picture. The name of the user who posted it is very suspicious because its name is which is this is a curse word in Bisaya. So we cannot tell also that this person is associated with the DepEd because of its name. So that might be give away its credibility because we can see links here where personal information of the applicants or students will be attached, such as school ID, report card, and or other personal information, which is very dangerous. So, however, we cannot truly say that the post is fake just because of the name of the user. So I corroborate informations to find out if it is fake or not. So again, using the reverse image search, I found on that the post is false, as DepEd did not offer scholarship programs according to the news. And on the next slide, the DepEd itself confirmed that it is fake. So now we already know that the post of that person is fake. So now those are the examples of disinformation. So now moving on to misinformation. So misinformation refers to false information shared without the intention to harm. So unlike disinformation, the person spreading this information usually believes that the information is true, but in reality it is not. So examples here is sharing fake health service, reposting unverified rumors, uh, forwarding edited photos, and spreading incorrect claims accidentally. So misinformation commonly spreads because people want to inform quickly, so without verifying its accuracy first. So now the first example of misinformation is this. So we analyzed was so in one example that I analyzed was the parody FIFA post. So we can see here that Trump could add 11 more countries to Cup banned list and changes it from FIFA to FASA, which means Federation America Soccer Association. Although the original creator labeled it as parody, some audiences became confused and questioned whether it was real. So if people share the post believing it is factual, it becomes misinformation because false information is being spread unintentionally. So this demonstrates how satire can evolve into misinformation when context is lost. So since the creator labeled it as parody, we don't need to verify if it is true or not. But still, if the creator did not put that word parody, we can always do again the reverse image search. Okay, so this is the reverse image search. So after doing that reverse search image, FIFA it will show that there is no renaming or banning banning countries, but uh, it's just that FIFA World Cup will be held jointly by the United States, Canada, and Mexico. So furthermore, Trump only said that soccer should be renamed to football, and that is all about it. It's not so it's just a parody now, but if if that post is remove that parody word, we can always do the reverse image search. So, moving on to our next sample of misinformation. So, there is also a post circulating online about energy lockdown in the Philippines. So, to manage the supply of oil and electricity. So, many people share the post to inform other people and panic, even my mother. So, after seeing that post, I double checked it and found out it was fake. So why it was fake? Let us analyze the post. So comparing this two picture from the energy sector and GMA News, it shows different date. Energy sector says it will start on April 20, 2026, but in GMA News, it will start in April 5. Again, since there is a logo from the energy sector and GMA News, people will immediately believe that the post is actually true. But the dates show otherwise. So let's let's dig deep. Again, I use the reverse image search again because it is the most basic but effective technique in corroborating information to identify if it is accurate or fake. So since there is a logo of energy sector here, we immediately go to the Department of Energy if they announce such. But their main page says that there is no energy lockdown. And also, there is a news from the Philippine News Agency that the palace confirms that there is no energy lockdown on April 20. So now we can already say that this is actually fake and many people were misinformed. So now for our last type of information disorder or fake news, this is malinformation. So let us identify or give definition of what is malinformation. So malinformation refers to real information that is shared intentionally to harm someone. So unlike misinformation and disinformation, malinformation is a true, genuine information that is used to weaponize maliciously. So an examples of malinformation is leaking private conversations, exposing personal photos, releasing confidential documents, or spreading real but sensitive information to just humiliate others. So the information itself may be true, but the intent behind it is very harmful. So now this is a sample of malinformation I found uh, on the news website. So this is the news about a hacker named Vince. Vince as in PH number one and S. So that spells out as Vince. This is a hacker named Vince. So Vince breaches online system of Philippine National Police, which shows that leaked information of data of the chief PNP, spokesperson, and government officials. So now the hacker Finns infiltrated the Philippines' national systems, compromising over 393,894 rows of personal information from the PNP logistics, data information, and management systems. So After a few days, the hacker breached another PNP system, so the firearms and explosive office. This time, the leaked data includes names, birthdays, unit assignments, email addresses, and detailed personal information of Special Action Forces personnel and high-ranking officials, including the chief PNP, the spokesperson, and DICT Secretary Ivan Er. The breach began with fiends exploiting vulnerable server and bypassing email verification on the PNP's firearm and explosive office. So fiends leverage a local file inclusion and other flows to access and download sensitive files. So, Fins suggested that several measures to prevent future breaches, including deploying web applications, firewalls, patching vulnerabilities, using intrusion detection systems, and intrusion prevention systems, implementing whitelisting and monitoring all connections to sensitive services. So now the PNP data breach involving the hacker known as Fins is an example of malinformation because real and sensitive information was intentionally exposed to cause harm or damage reputation. So this is a confidential data of police personnel and high-ranking officials that were illegally accessed and distributed online, putting their privacy and security at risk. So this incident highlights the information disorder does not only involve false information but also the malicious misuse of truthful information to damage individuals and institutions. So now for takeaways of my presentation. As digital citizens, we must become responsible consumers and sharers of information before believing or reposting content online. So we should verify sources, analyze the context, use a technique. So that technique is the reverse image search. So that we can fact check the information critically and assess that information because media and information literacy is essential in protecting ourselves and society from harmful information. So now fake news exists in many forms, including that misinformation, disinformation, and malinformation. Although they differ in content and intent, all three can negatively affect individuals and society. So again, in the digital age, information spreads rapidly, which makes critical thinking and analyzing that information is more important than ever. So now, as responsible social media users, we should always remember that not everything online is true and every share has consequences. So that is all. Thank you for listening. Bye bye.